Hi, and welcome back to the 50 Shades of Blonde show. I'm Missy Day.
Jill Branson.
And with us today is Christina Aldon. She is a friend of mine. She's amazing. She is a TEDx speaker. She is a lucky girl. She's a good mix. She speaks all over the world on emotional intelligence. She's all things tech related. You're just amazing. So
thank you.
Thank you for being on the show today.
Thanks. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to this for a while. I think you guys are great. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm really excited because, I have some cool things. I've been in Vegas now. I guess I went away and then I came back. I've been here for about 4 months. And there are some cool things happening with emotional intelligence, right? With training. I think that everybody should be taught emotional intelligence in school, right?
I agree.
Agreed.
Would it be great?
Definitely.
Like you go to class and you go to your first hour and it would be like, oh, okay, no, I'm late for empathy. I gotta get to class, I think that would be so cool. But most of us we're not taught that stuff,
No.
right? And yet this is what companies are using actually to hire people. I mean, I just did the Microsoft MVP events. They had 5 of them around the country. I was invited to speak at 4, and we did the emotional intelligence training there. And these are high-level professionals who have even just basic questions about human communication and how we can empathize with somebody. For example, when we consider neurodiversity, right? Somebody who's on the autism spectrum, which we find a lot of in tech, right? So all these things I think are really important. And I'm working also with schools here locally and some after school programs and girls with the Fierce Women Project, which Missy you've been involved in, and I know that Jill's very excited. Just for example, I mean, we're in 4 states. We're working with the Latina STEM Alliance up in Massachusetts. We're in Florida, Pennsylvania. And then here in Las Vegas, we've got a school up in North Las Vegas who's doing it. Thank you so much for sponsoring books,
You're
The
welcome.
Passion for Success. And we also now, I have meetings with the mayor for City of Henderson. And we're talking about doing some really cool stuff coming up. So, I think that emotional intelligence is a really important topic, and it's been around for a long time. This isn't new stuff, but it's definitely new to a lot of people, And you talk about emotional intelligence. Sometimes we've done workshops.
Right.
You've had stuff. I mean, you find it in your work.
I just did a training in a company a couple months ago. We were talking about EQ, and this gentleman raised his hand and he said, "Are you telling me that I have to have relationships with the people on my team?"
I love that.
I was mortified.
What?
And I said, "How many people are on your team?" 12. "Do you know their names?" Because I'm thinking that's a start, right?
Right.
I said, "Do you know their names?" "No, not all of them."
Yeah.
And it's like, really? You're in a long time standing company, and this has never been addressed before? It was like all new to this guy.
It's fascinating to me. And again, in technology, there's a certain stigma, right? There's a stigma about the gender equality, about, neurodiversity, about communication. Even, back-end developers and the front-end designers. I'm a front-of-the-house kind of girl. And so, that communication is really important when we're working in teams. Any team, really, whether it's a
Right.
nonprofit, whether it's a family, I'm like you said, I'm a mom now, Insta mom. I'm a mom now, right? And so even at Team Harris, we have to make sure that we're practicing emotional intelligence and getting along. And my Jay works at home and I work at home, and our kids, so we're always together. So communication
Right.
is a
Very
big
important.
thing. It's really important. Most of us aren't taught that. I wasn't taught it at home. I know, most
No.
of us aren't.
No.
Yeah.
So are you teaching the kids that?
Yes, we teach. I'll tell you though, it's a whole different thing. Ooh, it's a different thing when you see your kids reflecting back your own lack of emotional intelligence at you. or trying for patience, or or even looking at them with their own self-assessment. A self-assessment is a part of emotional intelligence. Empathy, trying to teach them empathy. They're both toddlers. They're 4. Matthew just had his 6th birthday, and even teaching those qualities, it takes diligence, it takes patience, and repetition, as we know, right? That's how our
Right.
brain works, right?
Right.
The more you activate that neural pathway that in your nervous system, the stronger the emotional response, the stronger, and you can actually rewire your brain and rewire your nervous system to get better results in your life.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
You have been all over the place speaking.
Yeah.
And I always love following you on Facebook, seeing what you're up to, where you're going next.
Yeah.
So where are you going to be next?
I thanks for asking. I had a really big, busy 2017. I think for the months of June and July, for 6 weeks, I was only home for 5 days, and then we moved across the country, and it was pretty crazy. And I got back in August, and I said, okay, we're going to relax a little bit. At the end of the day, Las Vegas has 635 conferences here a year, right? So the low-hanging fruit is kind of hanging out in my backyard. But I've been doing more corporate training kind of things. Like I said, I did those Microsoft trainings in Boston, Chicago. I mean, it was a lot of fun to do those. And next, I'm going to be speaking at Code Mash. I'm doing a talk about fearing the robot overlords. I did that talk as a keynote at Devox in Casablanca, Morocco last month, which was really fun. And then also I'm going to be teaching a workshop about unleashing your creativity, which a lot of times in my field, I own a digital advertising agency, and so trying to stay creative and trying to still produce creative, interesting, original content when maybe you're not feeling well, or
Right.
maybe, and I know a little bit about that, right? I've had a chronic pain most of my life, and so being able to unlock those things, maybe whatever's blocked might not be about trying to choose the red or trying to choose the perfect green. It could be something inside you. And again, we bring that back to awareness of self. We bring that back to awareness of others. How are you managing yourself? How are you managing others? Those 4 key concepts of emotional intelligence. So that'll be fun. It's in Sandusky, Ohio. In January, ladies.
That'll be fun. Get your minis.
Well, I'll tell you what, this conference is so cool. They'll have probably about 2,500 to 2,700 people there. It's a big conference for the Midwest. It's a tech conference called Code Mash, and they have Kids Mash, so we're bringing our kids. That's going to be great. And they rent out an entire water park. It's called the Kalahari Resort in the middle of a cornfield in Ohio in January. It's an
And it's
adventure.
indoors, right?
Oh, most certainly indoors. Most certainly
I was
indoors.
going to say, that might be a little chilly.
Might stick to the slides, right? The water will freeze on the way. No, that's funny. So I'll be doing that. And then, of course, my favorite conference of the year, Kalamazoo X. This is going to be his 10th anniversary and his last one in Kalamazoo. He calls it, the putting the soul back into the machine. And it's really a TEDx conference for techies, for geeks, right? And so we talk about the soft skills part. It's uncensored, it's not recorded, it's raw. It's my favorite conference. He only sells about 200 tickets every year. It's very, very quaint, and it's my favorite. I'm really excited about that
Now,
conference.
I think when you did the What's Your Story evening
Yes.
with us, he was there.
Yeah.
And is he thinking of still doing one here, maybe?
Well, the cool part is that we're talking to him about licensing it to other states, to
Oh,
other
great.
cities.
Awesome.
Because listen, wherever I go on the planet, I talk this conference up. It's my favorite one.
Yeah.
And I would just love to bring Kalamazoo X to Vegas. I would love to have CalX Vegas. Maybe 2018, maybe 2019. Let's see what happens.
Oh.
But Mike Eaton, he's one of my best friends, and he puts on my absolute favorite conference of the whole year. So it'd be great.
That's awesome. That'd be exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for people that are watching, how was the best way to get a hold of you?
I'm Lucky Girly Girl everywhere. It's LUCKYIE Girl, lucky girly girl. So you can find me on Twitter, on Instagram. You can find me on my website. I tell everybody I speak all languages. I speak
Yes.
Twitter, I speak Instagram, I speak LinkedIn,
Mom and
I speak mom. Lucky girly girl.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing about all the cool things that are happening in your life. We
that's
really
great.
appreciate it.
Absolutely, you bet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for our next segment.